great columnist, Peggy Noonan from the Wall Street Journal, really kind of just putting it out there, saying that you just have to believe that Putin might use tactical nuclear weapons. I think a lot of people are just thinking about that more than even China. I mean, it's a dreadful thing, and I mentioned her because she's a very cool head. But I just feel like we're now in that world where people feel like Putin is deranged, he's liable to do something, and they don't want to be in. I'm going to take the other side and say that he won't do it. But I totally understand anybody who thinks that a tactical nuke is there, just because otherwise I think he's going to lose.
Yeah, and honestly, if that's the case, the market's probably the last thing I'm thinking about if you think that's a reality, because it doesn't really matter at that point.
I think,
it's, yeah.
I mean, look, I thought you did a great job this weekend. And they're cooler heads, right? I mean, they've seen everything. Yeah. And they're still buying very good stocks, arbitrage situation. They make a lot of sense in the face of what is a market of fear. I do think it's odd that the futures are down if you're listening to them. But we've seen this before where people say, oh, well, look, we feel calm because of them, and then it sells off. I always feel calm. I always feel like they're just a breath of fresh air. What can I say?
Me too. It was interesting listening to it. They did talk a little bit about the potential for nuclear attack at some point. It's not zero. It's not very high at all, I think, in their estimation, but probably higher than it was before we watched what Putin was up to with some of these things. And Jim, maybe to put that into context, there is this news out of Germany today where they're saying that you could see a European ban on Russian oil very soon, and maybe that just that rhetoric ratchets up the tensions on what's circling around all of this. If he gets backed into a true corner on this, what his options would be, and we don't know if we're dealing with a rational person.
Yeah, we don't. We don't know what Germany can recommission. We do know, as you said earlier, that it's not gas that's the issue. Natural gas prices are insanely high over there. We've only sent about 1% to 2% of our nat gas to Poland. Our president has to say, okay, National Defense Act, all of the liquefied natural gas must go to Europe. That's not happened yet. So there are still things that could happen that make it so that Putin's not totally backed against the wall.
Where do we send most of our liquefied natural gas? What contracts would have to be broken for that? What would it mean?
South Korea, China. Spent a lot, really a lot to East Asia. They don't have any. Yeah. So look out. Could be big.
Yeah, not great solutions. Jim, I want to thank you just for talking about how all of this is a concern. It's what's out there, but also just pointing out that you think there's a buying opportunity here, maybe a little bit of calm. People think through some of these things. We'll see you again in just a few minutes. We need to hear more about this.
If everyone thinks it's going to be, if that's really out there, I have to take the other side of the trade. I have to buy a little.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and by the way, we want to remind you about the new CNBC Investing Club. It's Jim's club, and you can sign up to find out more at cnbc.com/join the club. Of course, you can always just point your phone right there at the code on the screen. It will take you directly there. You can catch more with Jim in just a few minutes. Squawk Box will be right back.
The last check on the markets before the trading week kicks off. Downside risks have prompted our next guest to trim her S&P 500 year-end target and to reweight a couple of sectors. Joining us now, Savita Subramanian, head of equity and quantitative strategy at BofA Securities. And Savita, lots changed since January 1st, as you point out, as some of the reasons. I wonder if this is the last trim that you'll be doing. You went from 4,600 on the S&P to 4,500. No one was expecting necessarily World War III, COVID resurgence, a more hawkish Fed. There's a lot of reasons. How much confidence do you have in 4,500 for a year-end target at this point? You got one foot out of the door on that number too?
Well, I would have to say that it depends, obviously, on the outcome around geopolitics. I mean, we're assuming that we don't see this sort of full-fledged nuclear kind of engagement. And in that scenario, I think asset allocation would be the last thing on our minds. But assuming that we get through this geopolitical skirmish, our view is that at this point, the probability of a recession that's priced into the market is about 1 out of 3. And if that probability increases, we would be likely to lower our target. But I think that regardless of, recession likelihood or recession risk, it's time to get a little bit more defensive. We're seeing a lot of changes in terms of spending patterns, in terms of just sort of consumer sentiment. I mean, I think the one biggest change that we've seen is that spend on big ticket items has tapered off, and we've seen consumers uptick spending on services. So removing geopolitics and recession risk from the scenario, if you just think about the consumer has actually meaningfully shifted, which means that you don't necessarily want to buy materials and consumer discretionary and goods purveyors. You really want to shift towards services. I think what that means is you don't want to be long materials, you don't want to be long consumer discretionary, and you really want to be overweight some of the more service-oriented beneficiaries like energy. I think as we all move out of our homes and start traveling again, assuming that's a viable option this summer, that should continue to benefit oil. Geopolitics is always a strong beneficiary for oil prices. I think on the overall market, that's the area where I have the lowest conviction. I think that, today represents an investment opportunity for the next several years at a sector level. But on the overall market, I think we're past the point of just simply buying the index and generating great gains. I think we're in much more of a stock picker or a sector picker's market, and total return is the name of the game from here. That's why we would be focused on sectors where we see a really strong likelihood of dividend growth, dividend yield. It's been one of the best ways to invest this year, and we think that's going to be the case going forward.
Savita, it's been a long time since we've lived in a world where you could have that somewhat surprising GDP print, the negative 1% plus, and the recession risks of, as you say, going to 1 in 3 now, and at the same time, watch the Fed get increasingly more hawkish.
Exactly.
And to see the Fed put, as Steve Leisman has said, further out of the money. So that means things are really not going the way policymakers want.
Good morning, traders. How are we all doing today? Welcome back Happy Money Monday! It is May 2nd, 2022, 9 a.m. And guys, I am so fired up to be back here. I am so excited to get back to work with each and every one of you. And I thank you all so much for your understanding with allowing me to take a few days off, to disconnect, to reassess, to re-strategize, to get back in the best mindset, to come into the market and to make it happen. So hit me with a big old good morning. Who do we have this morning inside the chat? Who's fired up like I'm fired up, and who is ready to rock and roll and make it happen? Ladies and gentlemen, it is a brand new day full of brand new opportunities. Not only is it a brand new day, it's a brand new week, and what? A brand new month full of brand new opportunities. So regardless of what happened last month, last week, last year, who cares? It's in the past. Take today and wipe that slate clean. It is a fresh start to a fresh month, a fresh week, and it is a fresh day in the market. So let's make the most of it. Let's make it happen, and let's lock in some amazing profits. Honestly, what we should be saying is, let's only take the best of the best trades. Let's make sure we're disciplined and patient in making it happen, only taking the best of the best trades. And we know at the end of the day, what guys? That money, those profits will follow those amazing trades. AJ buddy, what's up? Chris, AZJ Dub, Mr. Nick, what's up? Ricksta, Stock Hunter AZ again, Jakey, Lakey, Steve, Sam, Emmy, John, Trader Adam, Addy, Crypto Cole, Mr. Corey, Nick, Arlene, Steve, Kits, King, J Doss. Woo! My goodness, everybody's inside a chat today. We are ready to make it happen. And ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm just excited to be here, and I'm excited to work with you. Everybody on YouTube, hit me with a big old good morning as well. Mr. Joey, Luxury Trims, John, Holmes, what's up, buddy? Robert, Marvin, Chef, Diesel, Strong, James, MM, hello, good morning. How we all doing? Let's get ready for an awesome day ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, may the markets be with you all. I want each and every one of you using your Jedi mind tricks on the market to lock in some Sith profits this month. All right, again, I want you guys to lock in some Sith profits this month. Okay, all right, I see how it is. I see how it is. No one likes my jokes. All right, it's cool. I get it. It's not funny, Josh. You're not a funny guy, okay? Just quit trying so hard. All right, guys, you just want to talk stocks? Let's talk stocks. Enough with the jokes, okay? We're not going to lock in any Sith profits for the month of May, okay? We're just going to dive into it, and we're just going to talk stocks, okay? Cole's like, I've never seen Star Wars. Okay, well, you need to get out of chat, okay? You need to go watch Star Wars so you get how punny I am, all right? I am hilarious. I am punny. That was the punniest joke ever, okay? The Sith, get it? Lock in some Sith profits. Ha! Ha! Guess what? That's a knee slapper. Woo! All right, guys, let's dive into it. Let's not waste any time. Enough of my jokes. I'm not really funny. I understand why you guys aren't laughing. Okay, I get it. Maybe one or two of you could have laughed a little bit. Made me feel good. All right, but I see how it is. You guys are just ready to trade and ready to lock in profits. All right, cool. Let's dive into it, guys. Today's morning stock newsletter. All right, so again, if you guys are members inside the chat, you get access to the morning stock newsletter. This week, we'll be launching our intro membership as well. It'll give you access to our morning stock newsletter as well. Very detailed, very comprehensive, breaking down every single stock with news, my personal watch list, pre-market gappers, prior day top gainers, and earnings. Again, I put this together in the mornings to get you guys prepared for the day. It takes me like an hour to put this together. So again, I do this to help you. If you can't be in chat, you get the morning stock newsletter, right? Again, it's here for you guys to get prepared for the day. So I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and that you guys are fired up for a great day ahead. Again, we know it's a brand new day and a brand new week full of brand new opportunities. And regardless of what happened last week or last month, green or red, take this as an opportunity to wipe your slate clean and to start fresh and to get disciplined, to get focused in the right mindset, to do what you guys know you need to do to be a professional trader, keeping those losses small, only trading the best of the best of the best setups and letting your profits run with you. Let's make it happen and let's lock in some profits. And again, may the markets be with you all, ladies and gentlemen. Friday's Trader of the Day, Mr. Steve, with the $680 profit. Good job. Way to make it happen. Keep up the amazing work. So again, stocks with news, guys. U.S. Treasury yields start May higher as traders look ahead to the Fed meeting. Yes, we do have a Fed meeting here on Wednesday. We'll be discussing the next interest rate hike. The market has already priced in 50 basis points. But again, with 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago or last week with the Fed. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. The Fed come out and saying, we don't know if inflation is under control. We don't really know. We thought it peaked. We thought it was on the decline, but we don't really know. So again, guys, what could the Fed do to help offset the rising of inflation? Be more aggressive with their interest rate hikes. The market's already priced in 50 basis points. If we see that come true, and that's what the next rate hike is going to be, is 50 basis points, you could see the market rally, right? Because it's already being priced in, and there's nothing that's spooking the market, okay? But if you see the Fed any more aggressive than 50 basis points, look for the market to crash. Look for the market to continue to drop. So again, if all goes well and there's nothing that spooks the market and everything has been priced in, we could see the markets attempt to move higher. We could attempt to see the markets rally ahead of the CPI and PPI data that comes out following the Fed meeting. And again, that's going to give us more insight on inflation. Is inflation really under control? Is inflation still on the rise? If we come to find out that inflation is still on the rise, watch for the markets to come back down. So again, it's going to be a very, very volatile week, not just because we have CPI, PPI data coming out. I think that's next week, not only because we have the Fed speaking, but again, we have a lot of earnings. Last week was an amazing week for earnings, guys. Some of the biggest names reporting Q1 earnings last week. And again, this week, we have some great earnings as well. We have Pfizer this week. We have AMD, Airbnb, Starbucks. We got Uber, Twilio, right? Shopify. We got DraftKings. I mean, there's a lot of big names. Not as big as last week, but we still have some big names this week. You got Lucid, you got Cloudflare, right? AMD, Pfizer, Lyft. There's going to be a lot of volatility in the market this week. So get prepared, strap in, guys. We're going to make it happen. All right, stock futures are higher after the NASDAQ posts the worst month since 2008. But since then, the markets have slightly rolled on over, but they are starting to bounce back up. We're actually pretty much flat when we go look at futures. The SPY and the Qs, right, not down too much. The SPY's down 10 cents. The Qs are down about 60 cents. So we're going to pretty much open flat. We will take some time to talk about the SPY and the Qs. Again, guys, we do not have all of the time to break down every single stock with news. So again, if you want to see every single stock with news and the press releases and my top stocks of the day and these pre-market gappers and our prior day gainers and earnings, go ahead, go up to, you guys know where to go. You guys know where to go. Go up to the Morning Stock newsletter. Go ahead and look at today's newsletter and you guys can get prepared. But I've already taken this newsletter and I've dissected it. And I already know which stocks I want to be focused on and why I want to be watching these stocks. And again, we talked about my top stocks of the day as well that were posted up inside of Options Chat. All right, guys. So with that being said, let's just talk about the top penny stocks we have for the day. Then let's go ahead and migrate over and talk about the top options plays that we have for the day. And then we'll finish with the SPY and the Qs and what we can expect today coming into this week. So number one, we're going to be watching RDBX, right? RDBX, there is no news, but this stock is all momentum, right? This stock had a lot of great action a couple weeks ago. Decent week last week as well. Friday, what a massive day on Friday, breaking over that $5 level and just ripping and running to a high of $6.13 this morning, hitting pre-market highs of $7.50, which is a very, very, very strong level of resistance. Why is that? It is the 200-day moving average here on RDBX. So that 200 SMA is going to be tough, guys. Now, if that 200 SMA really holds this stock down and it's shortable, you could look to short RDBX back down into prior resistance, new support, 625. If we cannot break and rip over that 200-day moving average of 762. Now, if we do break and start ripping, we have room to 835, and then we could see this up towards around 875 on RDBX. So there is a lot of potential here with RDBX. It's all momentum at this point in time. This stock has a lot of focus in the market. So with that being said, we should absolutely still be watching it, because if we do break the 200-day moving average, we can see another 75 cents to $1 move to the upside on RDBX. Diesel's like, who gave Josh a Red Bull? Hey, no Red Bulls, but I've had 2 Celsiuses today, so I feel pretty good. I feel pretty hyped up. So yeah, no options on RDBX. However, if it is shortable, we could look to possibly short this on down. But again, with this much hype, this much volume, this much momentum, we could easily see it break that 200 SMA and get that other, about 75 cents to $1 to the upside. So we will absolutely be watching RDBX. VAXX receiving FDA Fast Track designation. This stock had a massive day on Friday. One of our top gaining stocks, going from under $4, hitting highs of $7.92. And that's that high we hit here in pre-market as well. So we're watching VAXX over Friday's high of $7.92. We do have room to $8.99, $8.89. My bad, dyslexia. You guys understand dyslexia. $8.89, and then potentially up towards around $9.86 on VAXX. Right now, support, I'm going to go ahead and put you back down. Let's go with that low there in pre-market 571, and then that pullback low from Friday at 534, and then psychological support down at 5. So those are going to be your levels of support: 5, 534, 571. Again, there's no reason to really get involved with this right now, but if this bad boy sets up, we have a lot of great potential, at least back to 792, and then 889, and then possibly 986 to $10 on VAXX. All right, VAXX is gapping up a little. No, it's actually gapping down a little bit. My bad. Friday, we closed at 694. Right now, we're trading at 652 on VAXX. It is a lower float stock. It has news. It is a prior day mover as well. We should absolutely be keeping the stock on high watch. And then lastly, INVZ. Right, so INVZ this morning dropping a decent press release. So INVZ picked by major vehicle maker to supply lidar sensors, perception software, and they expect their future order book to rise by $4 to $6 billion. Right, so not only were they picked by a major vehicle maker, okay, to supply sensors and software, but they were also expecting that future order book to rise by an additional $4 to $6.6 billion. INVZ has a very good press release. INVZ has really good news as well, right? Great press release. I said news. I meant to say volume. Again, I've taken like 5 days off, so you understand I'm a little rusty here, guys. All right. The float, not too shabby. It's a 92 million float stock, and it's trading really good volume, right? Last time I looked, it was trading 6 million shares. On average, it trades 800,000 shares per day. So we absolutely need to be watching INVZ. Support right now is going to be back down at 463 on INVZ, and then below that 463, look at some of these other daily levels. So you would have 414, and then back down towards around Friday's close of 404. You could see this back up towards around 482 and then $5, and then potentially back up to those pre-market highs. Now, if we ever break those pre-market highs and we start really taking on off and we really have some focus, you can see it up towards around 550 on INVZ, and then over 550 up towards around 639 on INVZ. Right now, not the best looking stock, not the best looking chart. There's definitely no reason to really get involved with INVZ at this point in time, just like there's no real reason to get involved with VAXX or RDBX. But again, these are the top stocks that have the best potential for today. Why are we not watching SOUN? Right? Why are we not watching the stock? I mean, it's a newer IPO stock, but there's no news. Right? It's just a newer IPO stock. It IPO'd on Thursday. It dropped over the last couple of days, and it's just getting some action. Every now and then, when penny stocks are really dead and slow, and a lot of our top gaining stocks are really doing nothing, traders go over to these newer IPO stocks. So SOUN, newer IPO stock that could get some activity today. BLTE, thanks to Mr. Steve inside of chat, is a newer IPO stock. IPO'd there on Friday. Could see some action today as well. And then you have ACON. ACON was a top gaining stock there on Wednesday. Why was it a top gaining stock? There was no news on this stock. It's just a newer IPO, and penny stocks were pretty dead last week. Penny stocks are pretty inconsistent and not predictable and very choppy. So traders like going over to these newer IPO stocks because they can rip and run. So definitely watch SOUN, BLTE, and ACON. You know, if the market is pretty choppy and pretty ugly for penny stocks like it was last week, maybe we see some of these newer IPO stocks get some action. But out of the gate today, team, I want to be focused on RDBX, VAXX, and INVZ as our top stocks that we watch right out of the gate, followed by 3 back burners. Okay, CYN, all momentum at this point in time. CYN has been on a freaking grind over the past couple of weeks, hitting new highs of 690, but closing below 622 resistance. Now, we want to see CYN breaking and holding above 622. If we can break and hold above 622, we can see this grind back up towards around 690, and then anything over that pre-market high of 690 up towards around 857 here on CYN. All right, CYN, again, it's all momentum at this point in time, and CYN has bottom support back down towards around $5.28. So we are absolutely going to be watching CYN as it's been in a solid uptrend for the last couple of weeks now. So CYN, number one back burner stock to be watching. FRGE is another back burner stock that I want to be watching today. If we can break over this $19.80 to $20 level, right? Look at the daily chart. You have a big spike on up, mid-candle breakout, nice follow through, pulling back off the 50 SMA, a little bit of this higher low, back up into resistance. You can see it looks like a little ascending triangle formation. It is in an uptrend. It is building higher lows. Technicals are being very respected. That 50 SMA is a definite key level to keep on watch, as that 50 SMA has been respected multiple times. But ideally, what we're really looking for here on FRGE is to see if the stock can get a break over this daily resistance right around 20 bucks. And if we can, we could see this run up towards around 21.90 and then possibly up towards around that 24.40, the $25 level on FRGE. Right now, there's definitely some better opportunity out there in the market. That's why we're watching RDBX, INVZ, and VAXX. Plus, we still got to talk about these option plays for the day. But this is a great back burner stock to be watching, as there could be some potential over 20 to 21.90, and then possibly 24.40. And then lastly, NKTX, right? This stock has hit 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We've hit that 200-day moving average, and we cannot get above. Now, could the stock break the 200 SMA and start ripping and running? Sure, it could. Absolutely. If this stock ever breaks 20, you could see it up towards around 23.40. But what am I looking for? I see 1, 2, 3, 4 days back to back getting rejected off that 200 SMA. If today is day number 5 of getting rejected off that 200 SMA, I would expect to see some selling movement. I'd expect to see traders taking profit, maybe shorts entering this position for that pullback, for that drop on down, as we are getting rejected and just stuffed at that 200-day moving average. So again, I'm a little short biased on NKTX, and what I'm looking for is to see if the stock really does stay below that 1875. And if it does, I'm thinking about shorting the stock at least down into that $14 level, and who knows, maybe even back down towards around $12.40 and $10. We shall see, but there is going to be some opportunity, in my opinion, with NKTX, and it is optionable, right? So if the stock is you're not able to short the stock with shares, you can go in here and buy a put on the stock. And I don't think it's going to be a one and done on a day trade. I think this could be a multi-day short swing to the downside if we do indeed see this stock continue to get rejected by that 200 SMA. All right, so that is the last back burner stock that I want to bring to your guys' attention and get you guys prepared as far as why I'm watching it, what I see, and how I'm looking to trade this stock. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about some of these top stocks that we have in regards to options, right? So we got Airbnb with earnings tomorrow. But from a technical perspective, it looks like we could see it move slightly lower ahead of earnings. So Airbnb cracking below 150.50 and staying below 150.50. Definitely thinking about a short on Airbnb. And if it is cracking below 150 as well, and it looks really weak, and it's giving us that short signal, definitely looking to short this today, maybe into tomorrow, seeing if we get dragged down ahead of earnings. We do have a slight daily gap fill down at 144.22, right? So I'm really just watching that 150 to 150.50 150 level. And if we are cracking and staying below that level, I will look to enter a short position down to fill that daily gap around 144.22. Walmart with a massive head and shoulders formation. We actually cracked out of that head and shoulders formation there on Friday. So the neckline would have been right there. And we already cracked that neckline, as well as 154 support, as well as that 20 EMA. Could we see a continuation down today? 100%, right? Nasty move on down. We could see this open up and continue to drop on off. But sometimes, what do we see with formations and patterns, such as a head and shoulders? Every now and then we get a retest. What do I mean a retest, right? So every now and then you can see a head and shoulders formation like we see on Walmart, right? You got this nice big head and shoulders formation. You crack that neckline, and every now and then you'll get a multi-day move on up to retest that neckline before it then rolls on over. So we could see a retest of the neckline of that 154.20 level before it actually rolls on over. It may not be a good short for today, but if we do start really dropping below this 152.40 level, that is a good level of support, and we're cracking below it. This is just going to be all momentum, continuing to drag this on down into the 150s. So I'm absolutely going to be watching Walmart either today, below that 152.40, down the 150 to the short side, or waiting to see if it bounces on up, waiting to see if it retests that neckline and that 20 EMA and that support level of 154.28. And if we do see that proper retest and it looks like it's going to roll back over, then I'm definitely thinking about shorting this down into the 150s, and that could come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday later this week. But it's definitely a stock to be watching today to see if it does just drop on down. And if it doesn't, looking at it tomorrow and Wednesday to see if you're getting that retest for the next leg down here on Walmart. So absolutely going to be watching Walmart today. AMD has earnings tomorrow after the close. And I'm really liking the technicals on AMD. We're in one big falling channel. And what are we doing right now on AMD? We're actually approaching the bottom trend line of this falling channel. So here's the way I look at AMD. You know, if AMD didn't have earnings, I would absolutely be looking to, maybe load up on some calls to look to see if we bounce off that downtrend, off these lows, back up to the top part of that falling downtrend off the highs. I mean, that could be potentially 20, 30 points to the upside over the next few weeks. However, you have earnings tomorrow night, and anything could happen with earnings. I wouldn't suggest loading up, but I think this could be a very good lotto play, in my opinion, right? So if you guys are looking for the next best lotto play, and you can back it up with some technicals as well to try to put some of those odds in your favor, I would say AMD is the best candidate. You do have this falling channel, and this stock could easily come down and bounce and start moving its way back up. If AMD has good earnings, what do you think is going to happen? It's probably going to gap up and move off those positive earnings. So AMD could be a great lotto play to the call side ahead of earnings. So if you guys are looking for the next best lotto, I would say possibly AMD calls because you are getting some validation from a technical perspective as well. And again, it's a lotto because, again, it's a lottery ticket. It's a gamble. So again, you only invest what you're willing to lose. But I would say we can back this up with some technicals with earnings. I would say this would be a good candidate for a lotto play this week to the long side for calls. I wouldn't load up, right? If earnings were around the corner, maybe I start scaling in and loading up. But right now at this point in time with earnings, it becomes a little risky. So be conservative, only invest what you're willing to lose. And if you get paid, you get paid. But AMD could be the best candidate for a lotto play this week ahead of earnings. A couple more guys. Snowflake, SNOW. If SNOW stays below 172.50 today, I am looking to short this down to 165. Okay, so if we break and hold above 172.50, I'm not going to touch it. But if we do indeed see this just drop off that 172.50 level, and it's definitely giving us that short signal, I do see potential down towards around the 164 to 165 level as to why I'd be looking to short SNOW. And then lastly, we have Pfizer. Pfizer has earnings this week as well. So Pfizer's earnings, ladies and gentlemen, is, when is Pfizer earnings? Is that tomorrow before the open? It is. So I definitely want to be watching Pfizer from a technical perspective and to see what the stock does after earnings, right? What do I see on Pfizer? Big drop, spends about a week and a half, really chopping that 200-day moving average, really staying above it, regaining, and ripping on up. What have we been doing the last week? Really just chopping around that 200 SMA. Okay, now if we actually see a proper, regain, right? We're actually trading above the 200 SMA and we're staying above the 200 SMA, breaking back above $51, I would look to take this long back into this daily downtrend here on Pfizer. And I mean, that could put us back up towards around $54. So maybe not today, maybe earnings suck, maybe the stock drops and dumps on off, and then the technicals are completely null and void. But if earnings are good and this stabilizes Pfizer and we could actually stay above and trade above this 200 SMA, breaking back above the 20 and the 50, I do think we could see a rally like we saw last time, at least back up towards around $53 to $54 coming into this daily downtrend. So I absolutely want to be watching Pfizer, ladies and gentlemen, for those reasons. It may not play out today. We have earnings that could completely kill the trade altogether, but if earnings are good and it stabilizes and we're trading above that 200 SMA, we're starting to see what we want to see for a possible swing trade up into that $53, $54 level there on PFE. So again, PFE definitely on watch today throughout the rest of this week. Snowflake today on watch. AMD, possible lotto play ahead of earnings. Walmart for the continuation off this daily head and shoulders formation. And then Airbnb ahead of earnings to fill that daily gap down towards around 144.22. Let's go talk about the SPY and the Qs real quick, ladies and gentlemen. So the SPY came right down to that February 24th low in pre-market and it bounced. So we came right down to that low and we are bouncing. We have room back up towards around 415 here on the SPY. Now 415 was a bounce level on the 8th of March, was a bounce level there last week on Wednesday. So 415.07 is going to be a very strong level of resistance, old support turning new resistance. So if we do come up to that 415.07 and we see just that selling pressure and the stock cannot break above that level to move higher, I would be looking to short this back down into these pre-market lows of 410.45. Now, if we break and hold that 415 level and it looks like we're going to have a green day, maybe a couple green days, where could we see the SPY go to next? Well, I would say this massive daily downtrend. Or not, the daily downtrend, but just throw it into like a 1 hour, 4 hour time frame, and just look at this downtrend. Okay, we came up and tested it again on Friday, and we dropped on off. So if we are breaking above that 415 level, and we are starting to see a green day, maybe into tomorrow, I would say the next best level to be watching for a short or a rejection and a move lower on the SPY would be this multi-day downtrend here on the SPY. And then kind of the same thing with the Qs, right? You can do the same thing, grab yourself a downtrend. And if we are indeed getting above 315 to 316 on the Qs, I would think we could have some room up towards around 317.63. And then really that next big target being that multi-day downtrend. The Qs did the same thing, came down to a very good level of support, 311, put in an intraday double bottom. Now we're back above Friday's low. So we're looking at the Qs above Friday's low of 312.60. We have potential back to 315, 316, and then 318. And if we break through all of those levels, the next stop before we see resistance would be that multi-day downtrend. All right, guys. So that is our watch list for today. That's what we're looking at, why we're looking at it. I would say sit back, relax out of the gate. Let's see how these stocks are moving. Let's see what these market conditions look like. Let's make sure we're only trading the best of the best of the best setups. And again, that money will follow and we will see some great profits, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get ready to rock and roll. The market is now open. Let's have some fun. Let's take those amazing trades and let's watch those profits just roll right in to those accounts, guys. Again, we're going to start with some pennies out of the gate. We're looking at RDBX, VAXX, and INVZ, CYN, nice little back burner play, FRGE, and NKTX. Back burners. And again, I'll be shifting through a lot of these stocks. I'll be looking at Snowflake. I'll be looking at AMD. I'll be looking at Walmart, Airbnb, the SPY and the Qs, right? I'll just kind of be transitioning back and forth. between these stocks, making sure we do not miss any of our opportunities. But right now, as far as actually jumping into something, it's got to be the best of the best setup. It only takes one great trade to make it happen. I want to join Alpha, but I'm new to trading. So again, that is the beautiful thing about our community, is we really help newer traders, right? That's really what we focus on, is helping the newer trader understand the markets, understand what it really takes to put the odds of success in your favor, right? There's more to trading than just technical analysis. There's mindset, emotions, risk management, psychology, and we really teach those fundamental things inside of chat. So if you are brand spanking new and you're like, man, I don't know if I'd be a good fit, you would be an amazing fit, because we all like helping brand new traders learn the right way to trade stocks. So I was watching, not watching, but I did look at VERU this morning, and I'm like, VERU, I'm like 50-50 with it. It does have potential. It is building on up these higher lows little by little by little. So if you guys are watching VERU, I would say you'd have room into this downtrend, right around 14 bucks. So if you look at it on a daily perspective, a daily chart, you can see this really nice daily pennant formation, right? This big rip up, building some higher lows. You have this downtrend. So I'd say the next stop for VERU would be that downtrend, but you also have this daily flag formation. So you could start to see it break 14 and actually start ripping on up today on VERU. But if it doesn't play out today, you should still be watching this, because you are in this nice daily flag formation. You could see it back up towards around 1543, and then that prior spiking high from the 14th of April, which is up towards around 1745. So VERU, I would say, you know what? VERU is definitely a good little back burner stock to be watching. And then APRN, Cole says he's watching APRN out of the gate. I completely missed that. Press release was dropped right at 9 o'clock. And they secured $70 million in investment capital. So we do have receiving a large sum of money on APRN, which is about $70 million in capital. So we'll definitely be watching APRN as well. 120,000 bajillion %. And really, it's just a game of patience, right? This is the hardest part. You're so hyped up in the morning. You're ready to go, ready to make it happen, ready to pull the trigger on a stock that's moving. But just because the stock's moving, does that make it a good trade? Does that mean, hey, I should be getting in? No, it doesn't. Right? It just means, hey, we should watch it. We should definitely be watching the stocks. Let's see if they set up. If they give us a great buying opportunity, let's hit it hard, let's make it happen. But just because a stock's moving doesn't make it a great trade. So right now, looking at all of these top stocks, not really seeing anything that I want to jump in on right now at this point in time. And then SNOW is rolling over. SNOW is rolling over. I would say next target to the downside is 165 there on SNOW. Again, AMD could be a decent little lotto play ahead of earnings, based on what we talked about here in pre-market, just being inside this really big falling channel on the daily. If we have good earnings, that would help back up these technicals for a nice little rebound into this daily downtrend, which would put you back over $100. And then Airbnb, below that 150 level, I definitely want to look to short this down to 144. And you know, we're kind of just sitting back on the SPY and the Qs as well. So the SPY is back down at that level from the 28th of February, right around that 410.60. So if we start cracking below 410 on the SPY, this thing could really start dumping on off down. We're around 407 on the SPY. So definitely keep that on high watch as well, team. And the Qs right now, resistance, 312.60 resistance on the Qs. We do have room back down to 311 on the Qs. right now, I'm just watching some pennies, looking to see where the best of the best trade is. If that trade comes in the next minute, I'll absolutely take it. If it comes in an hour, so be it. I'll take it when that opportunity presents itself. But NKTX is at that point in time that I would think about a short. All right, guys, so at this point in time, NKTX, if you were even thinking short, if you liked what we were seeing as we broke this stock down in pre-market, and you're like, you know what, I like what I see what he sees, I think this could be a great short. This would be the point in time that you start building a position, right? Because your stops are nice and tight. You're gonna put stops over 19 bucks, right? If it breaks and starts ripping over 19, get out, walk away. But right now would be a great time to be looking to get those puts or that short position, as we are seeing that rejection off the 200 SMA. So you have very tight stops and you have so much potential to the downside. So I would say right now, RDBX looks to be the best stock at this point in time. If we can really get a strong break and hold above that 200-day moving average, I would absolutely look to take RDBX long up towards around 838 on RDBX. So right now, looking at everything that we have, you know, APRN doesn't look all that bad. We are bouncing right off that 365. VERU just doesn't look the greatest out of the gate, but RDBX looks pretty strong, right? Nice slow grind to the upside, building higher lows. It's not just dumping on off like some of these other stocks. VAXX pulling back pretty hard, INVZ, CYN, all of these other stocks pulling back pretty hard. The one stock that looks the best right now at this point in time is RDBX. So this is the stock that I'm going to be focused on right now, is RDBX. And what we're looking for is just a simple break over that 760? Yeah, 761 is your 200 SMA. So just breaking over that 761, this thing could really start taking on off. So those are your top two at this point in time. RDBX, I think it has some great potential. It hasn't yet ripped, but I think it could start ripping and running a little bit. And then we're starting to get some action here on APRN as well. And APRN has potential back up to 430, and then that 50 SMA of 440. So just keep in mind that you do have some resistance very, very close up towards around that 430 to 440 level, with support being 365. But I like RDBX right now for some reason. I think RDBX has some great potential, guys. Nice break above VWAP in the 90 EMA, nice healthy decreasing volume pullback, nice rip back up to resistance, nice healthy decreasing volume pullback, nice bounce off the 9 EMA. We could really see it's trying to build these higher lows, really trying to bounce and hold that 9 EMA, and this has been all momentum. Right? It's been all momentum. So we can pretty much say we could still see that momentum stay intact even on our lower time frames. So let's keep RDBX on high watch here, guys. And now it's, big old dumperoo. That's why we wait for our confirmation, guys. Just because the stock's moving doesn't mean it's a good time to get on in. Right now, we were just watching RDBX. As you guys can see, I have no positions open for the day. So again, if this would have started to break that 761, that could have been a confirmation to get long really quick, up towards around 838 resistance, or a break and hold, a break and retest over 761. We never broke. We never retested. There was no reason to get involved. Now we sit back and wait. We look to see how low can RDBX go. Well, I see 625 support on RDBX. So right now, if we dump on off to 625, what could that be? That could be an amazing dip buy opportunity. And I'd actually bring that level down a little bit into Friday's high. So I would say 615. If we just get smacked down to 615 on RDBX, I'm absolutely looking to take this for a dip buy. We are currently getting halted to the downside on RDBX. So if we open on RDBX, we open lower and we just dump right to 615, I will absolutely look to take this for a dip buy. What could I look to do? Take profit at the halt level. We know how halts work. When you get a gap up out of a halt to the upside, it washes out and it pulls back to the halt level as support. Okay, so same thing. Halt to the downside, these halt levels are going to be levels of resistance. So if we gap down at, say, on a 630, let's just say hypothetically we open, we gap down at 630 and it drops to 615 and I make an entry. Where would my resistance level be to take profit? It would be the halt level of 654. So how much profit could I make? Let's say I sell at 650. How much profit is it? That's 35 cents that I'm looking to capitalize on. What's my risk? I would probably put my stops slightly below $6, right? I would actually put my stops right below 615, right? If I get that 615 entry and I see it down 6, I'll probably cut it, right? But I want to give it a little bit of breathing room because we could see it wick down to 6 and then shoot right on up. So at least I know right now I have a plan. How much money can I make? How many cents per share, right? What's my per share profit? Well, approximately 35 cents. What's my stop? No more than 15 cents, right? What is that? That's a 2-to-1 setup, right? It's a dip buy opportunity off a pretty valid level, being Friday's spiking high. And I love dip buys, especially when stocks are really volatile. So again, I have 70% odds of this dip buy working in my favor. I have nice tight stops. I have pretty good reward. It's a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. I love dip buys. I nail dip buys really easily. And so that's what I'm looking for. Maybe that dip buy between 6 and 615, placing those stops below $6, looking to take some profits up towards around the halt level, 650. So that's what I'm looking at coming on up here on RDBX. We were halted on RDBX at 9:40.38. So add 5 minutes, 9:45.38 should be our resumption time if this is a 5-minute halt. Let's go ahead and look at Pfizer. Again, probably not going to happen. SNOW. We need to really make sure it's not going to get above this 172.50. Right now, we are pushing above 172.50 here, so there's no entry on snow. AMD, you guys were buying those lottos this morning out of the gate. You guys are currently up a little bit there. Walmart, we're looking for this to crack below that pre-market low for that Head and Shoulders continuation drop to the downside into the 150. So we still have some time there. And we never drop below that 150.50 level on Airbnb. So there's no reason to get involved with this. Qs are ripping on up here a little bit. Overall market's following suit. And this is what you guys need to be mindful of. Okay, this is what you guys got to be super, super mindful of. Is if you see a really good short setup. Let's say Airbnb, it's like it's a killer short, but you see the Qs ripping and the SPY ripping. What's Airbnb going to do? What's Airbnb going to do? It's probably going to rip, right? So again, when the market is really volatile like this, I mean, really volatile, big swings. I mean, you're talking 5, 10 points, 3, 4, 5% drops and pops in a given day. There's that much volatility. You got to be mindful of what the SPY and the Qs are doing, right? Because again, if you see a good short setup on Airbnb, for example, but the SPY is ripping and the Qs are ripping, Airbnb is most likely going to correlate and move higher as well, which would absolutely kill your short position. So be mindful of the broader market, especially during these very volatile times. So RDBX should be live here at 9:35:38. Got about less than a minute to go here. RDBX, my P&L box is up on the stream. Again, I'm looking for my trades, the best of the best setups, the trades that I like, the trades that I'm successful with. And right now, I love a good dip buy. So right now, if we open and just drop to that 615, I am looking to get involved for a dip buy. Right now, I have bids at 770. I got bids at 770. That's not correct. 9:35:38. We have just about 10 seconds to go. So my focus right now, RDBX for this dip buy off Friday's highs. And that's going to put us down around 6 to 615. We should be live in 3, 2, and 1. There's a 650 open, and we didn't gap down. but we could still see the dip buy. What's the new halt level? 580. So we're good on the dip buy. 580 is the halt level to the downside. So if we see a nasty drop here straight down to 615, I still think a dip buy is on the table. But we actually didn't gap down like I thought. I thought we were going to gap down and just drop, but we still have potential to drop on down. Where's resistance on RDBX? Right off the open, 683 resistance. And we can see that 683 is holding this down. So this could be a two-legged pullback. Massive drop, two-legged pullback, dump on down, 615 dip buy level. And we're just looking now, right? A little bit of a different approach. We're not looking for that 35 cents. Now what we're looking for is maybe about 10 to 15, maybe 20 cents for the dip buy. If RDBX was shortable, I would think about shorting this off a two-legged pullback. But right now it's not shortable on my end, so I can't be looking to short this for a two-legged pullback for the next leg on down. But I still think there's potential for a 615 dip buy opportunity. So we will see here, guys. We will see. We just need to be focused on it. Nothing really to get involved with APRN, nothing on VERU. VAXX, not a lot. INBZ, nothing. CYN, nothing. There goes FRGE, guys. FRGE was our back burner breakout. All momentum, baby. Over 20 bucks, we have room to 21.90. Over 21.90, we could see 24.46 FRGE. That's why it's important to be here and to pay attention, because right now, FRGE broke right over that 1982 level, right? We had 1982 to 20 bucks. Look at that break and that hold. Look at that little teeny doji, and then that boom, that blast on off. So FRGE definitely working its way towards the top of the watch list, but I still think RDBX is a stock to keep on watch. And APRN, especially APRN, breaking above 430 to 440. I'm still tradeless on the day, guys. I'm not here to just trade everything that moves. I'm here to set the right expectations and lead by example. It only takes one or two great trades to make your day, to make your week. And right now, we're about, 28 minutes in. Not even. We're at 18 minutes in. And I haven't really seen a killer opportunity yet, as to why I'm not pulling the trigger on anything. When I see the opportunity, I'll pull the trigger, and I'll let you guys know. Next target on the SPY, 415. Next target on the Qs, over 315, would be 317.63. You look at some of these stocks that we were looking at with options today. Snowflake, SNOW, there's no reason to touch this to the short side. Maybe you guys were getting some lottos on AMD. Congrats, you're already up a little bit. Walmart, getting pretty close for the short, guys. Getting pretty close for the short. Below that 152.40, you can run this down to about 150 here on Walmart. And again, it's just continuing off that head and shoulders formation. You have a downtrend here on Walmart as well. So not only are you watching that 152.40 level to crack and drop, you do not want to see Walmart breaking back above this intraday downtrend either. So Walmart right now is the one that's starting to give us confirmation, right? Pfizer never confirmed, Snowflake never confirmed, AMD, we know that was a lotto play. Airbnb never confirmed anything, but Walmart right now starting to give us some confirmation. We're starting to see that early buy signal for that drop on down into the 150s here on Walmart. So high watch, guys. So right now, the fact that we have FRGE getting that daily breakout, if we get a nice break and retest, let's think about a long here on FRGE. Maybe a long back down at that 1982 retest, right? That was our breakout level, right around 1980 to 20. We kind of already retest, though. That's the problem. We already came down to 2010. We've already bounced about 65 cents to the upside. If we get a much cleaner pullback, a healthier pullback, it's a little bit more predictable, I absolutely think we should be watching FRGE up towards around that 2190. So I'm definitely focused here on FRGE for that just nice, healthy, simple retest, clean and easy to get in for that nice little leg on up here. And again, I don't see a reason to jump into VERU at this point in time. I don't see a reason to jump into APRN. I don't see a reason to be, I don't know, Redbox. I don't know. Sorry for the squeaky voice. I don't know, but definitely thinking RDBX. I really expected to see this drop on down. We're around that 615. We never got it. If we would have gotten it, look at how amazing that could have been. If this would have came down just a little bit lower to that 615 for that dip buy, look at a massive reversal there. But RDBX, we are halted above the 200 SMA, guys. We are halted above that 200 SMA. So I would actually bring your intraday support down to 750. I know the 200 SMA is 760, but we have all of this resistance that we just broke above at 748. So give yourself a window, right? 748 to 761 support. Now, if we open out of the halt, we hold that level, we would look to go long up to 838 here on RDBX. So I like RDBX, a lot of great potential. I like FRGE, a lot of great potential as well. Now everything else, kind of slow, right? Not too much activity, but they're still on watch. But the top stocks at this point in time, it's very clear that we should be watching FRGE and RDBX after it goes live. We were halted at 950.29, so it'll be 955.29 is the resumption time if it's a 5-minute halt. All right, and as you guys know, I stream Monday through Friday for free on YouTube from 9 to 9:45, one day during the week. I keep the stream open for you guys. I also put out some streams on TikTok in the morning as well. So I've been live with you guys for the past just about 2 hours at this point in time. So I hope you guys were able to take something from the stream to, again, figure out what stocks have the best potential and why they have the best potential. Again, hopefully you guys were able to take some value and education from the stream and apply this to see good results and good trades today. So, team, ladies and gentlemen, traders over on YouTube, enjoy the rest of your Money Monday. Make it happen. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. Only take the best of the best trades and watch the money follow. Until next time, happy and safe trading. And I'll see you YouTubers back here tomorrow morning right at 9 a.m. or 8:15 over on TikTok. Take care, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Watching the Qs uptrend crack potentially. If it breaks 315, I'll look for calls. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we see the Qs breaking and holding that 315 level, we could see it up towards around 317.63. FRGE is getting smacked. So market conditions, 50-50, right? I'd say like 50-50. You got some decent setups, but nothing that's super clean, right? I mean, do you guys see something that's like super clean in Pennyland? Because I don't see anything. Look at RDBX. Pretty choppy, dump, halt to the downside, rip, halt to the upside, pretty all over the place. Go look at VERU. It's just fading on down. Go look at APRN. Came down to that 360, nice bounce. Now it's kind of curling on over. VAXX, not doing a lot. INVZ, dropping on down. CYN, nothing. FRGE, trying to get that break and retest, dumping on off. NKTX, I still think is a good little short below that 1880. But right now at this point in time, it's very clear that there's not a lot of action with penny stocks. I mean, there's things moving, but just because something's moving doesn't make it a great trade. I would still say RDBX is the best stock to be watching for pennies at this point in time. Looks like Catherine grabbed some AMD Lottos. I like it. I like it. I love the technicals, and I like the fact that we could have some positive earnings, and that could help these technicals play themselves out. So again, if you're watching the Qs, you want a simple break and retest over 315. Breaking and holding above 315 here on the Qs, you can run this to 317.63. You have a nice little uptrend here as well. So what I would do is I would be long until the trend line cracks. Play the cues long until the trend line cracks. If we start to see the trend line crack off a possible triple top, I would look to go short, back down to 311. So you got a great long opportunity here over 315 to 317.60. As long as you hold the uptrend, you could stay long in this trade. But the second we crack the uptrend, you want to get out of this trade for any profits, and then think about flipping short back down towards around 311 there on the cues. And you kind of got the same exact thing with the SPY, guys. Same thing. Nice little uptrend here on the SPY. As long as the uptrend is intact, you can play this long to 415. The second that we crack the trend line, you would look to short this back down towards around 409. Low a day there on the SPY. RDBX is just trucking along here, guys. I mean, looking at this, I mean, where was the best trade, right? That's what I look at. If I feel like I missed a trade, I'm like, all right, okay, maybe I missed it, maybe I didn't. Look left. Hindsight's always 20/20. Where would you have bought this? I'm really looking at this. Where would I have really gotten this for this to be an exceptional trade? Maybe when it broke and held above 683. But again, that was only one reason to jump in. I need to find at least a couple, 2 to 3 reasons to get involved in a trade. That's the only thing I can see was the break and hold above the open. That was it. Or simply, like Catherine said, just buying the break over the 200 SMA. But I like to see multiple reasons. I want to see maybe a break and a retest, right? Why a break? It proves itself that it can break out. Why a retest? It allows me to look at the volume and see how strong sellers are and see that transition from selling to buying. That gives me a few separate reasons to get involved in a trade. And that's how I want to trade. I want to have multiple separate reasons to get in, right? Double tops, trend line cracks, divergence, let's short it, right? I want to have multiple separate reasons to take a trade, not just one, not just two, as many as possible. So if I look to enter a trade, I'll bring my P&L box on over again, but I want to open these scanners up for you guys. And right now, I'm not seeing anything that I want to jump in on, which is unfortunate because don't get me wrong, I want to trade, guys. I want to trade really good setups, and I'd love to lock in some profits early this morning, but we got all freaking day, guys. It's Money Monday. We got until 4 o'clock. We will make it happen. If you haven't found your setup yet, and you haven't traded, it's okay, right? Identify your setup and make it happen. Don't trade something just because someone else is trading. Everybody has their own unique edge in the market. But what we need to do is be patient and wait for that opportunity and that setup to come to us versus chasing the stock and actually hunting for that opportunity. I mean, my goal in the morning is to make quick profits and be done. But I'm not going to force something that's just not there. And RDBX is still where all of the focus is at this point in time. And with RDBX, I see that 875 resistance and then 926. You're just looking at some of these daily lows. So right there at like 913, 933, and then up towards around 10, right? Then $10. And RDBX will not slow down. I tell you what, if RDBX would have came just a little bit lower, that would have been a killer trade. It never got that low. We're just kind of chilling, sitting back, waiting to see where that next best opportunity is. Waiting for that RDBX rug pull. I mean, we saw a lot of rug pulls last week, Catherine. A lot of them. I wouldn't be surprised if it gives you like a killer, crystal clear, amazing setup, and then it follows a rug pull, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happen. So I'm looking for these low volatile entries. On a stock like RDBX, why was I looking for that dip buy? Because that's right off a level of support, and we just have so much room to the upside. As the stock is already ripping, hitting new highs, the last thing I want to really be doing is trading a stock up here at high a day. Even if it's a great setup, I'm just still mindful about these market conditions, and a lot of these really good setups have been leading to a lot of rug pulls in this market for penny stocks. So that has me a little hesitant to really be trading these stocks at or near highs of day. I'd rather wait for the rug pull and trade a dip buy or short into the rug pull versus trying to force something that's just not there.